Hey everybody, TWA here once again, bringing you another build video. Today I'll be building the Airfix 172 scale P-51D in a little bit of a different paint scheme. For 72nd scale kit, the cockpit was well detailed and assembled without issue. I decided against pre-shading on this build, simply spraying the interior surfaces with a mixture of Tamiya green and yellow. I wasn't happy with the first color, so I reversed the mixture to get a darker green that I was much more pleased with. My original mix seemed closer to a zinc chromate that you'd find in the wheel wells than the cockpit green I wound up mixing. Details were picked out with various Vallejo shades. I masked off the gear doors and painted the center section with a mix of silver and black. Since these are up when the aircraft is on the ground, this wasn't really necessary, but it is an element of the 51s that I think is interesting and I like to make sure to add. I tried a really sloppy and quick approach to replicating the torn up wooden cockpit floor, basically painting a rough suggestion of plywood using Vallejo and ammo acrylics, then masking with a masking fluid, painting black, and removing the fluid. I was a bit too heavy-handed with this in both painting and removing, but I think it has potential and does add a splash of interest. Interior elements were dry brushed with a light gray. The seatbelt decals were okay, but I wish I had made them from tape. While the decals are nice, I don't especially like the color, and even in 70-second scale they look very flat. The interior is washed with Flory Models grime. After drying, the wash is removed with a water-dampened cotton bud. Made pastel powder out of chalk sticks to dirty up the cockpit interior in a more mild way than I could with another wash or oils. To ensure good adhesion, I scraped away the paint in the contact area. I found this to be a very clumsy prop spinner design. Splitting the spinner in this way makes cleaning the seam much more difficult than other strategies, which both minimize and hide the seam area. I really like the design of the flaps in this kit. Building it flaps down as easy as can be and looks really clean. After a coat of Tamiya gray primer, I painted the airframe with a coat of Tamiya gloss black. All paint was with one of Tamiya's metal acrylics, although I cannot remember exactly which one. After the metal had dried, I masked the airplane and painted everything black again. I then shaded these areas with white. The underside and tail of the airframe was then sprayed almost entirely with a Tamiya yellow, with literally 1 or 2 drops Tamiya red added to the mixing cup. The nose was painted with a mixture of Tamiya olive drab and khaki drab to eye. I masked the panel around the exhaust and darkened it with a highly thinned layer of Tamiya smoke. After a coat of Tamiya gloss, decals were applied. The national insignia came from an Airfix BF109E kit. Keep an eye out on this channel later in the month. The swastikas came from an aftermarket decal sheet that I've had for years. Stencils on the metal areas came from the kit. Decals were applied first on top of microset, and then after they had dried, conformed with solvaset. After a seal coat of Tamiya gloss, the airframe was washed with Flory Models grime in the manner described on the interior. I dry brushed the contact area of the tires with a Vallejo Basalt Gray. After I glued the canopy onto the model, I could call this build complete. At the end of it, I have mixed feelings on this kit. In a lot of ways that matter the most, it is honestly a pretty stellar. The fit of airframe components is all good, requires minimal cleanup work. The model has the trench panel lines, typical of Airfix kits from this period, but I personally think that's a positive. As a downside, this is from the series of 72nd scale Airfix kits that seem to have focused on scale accuracy to a detriment in some areas. The control stick is flimsy as can be, and even after being built, the integrity of the gear makes me extremely nervous. I was a bit frustrated with myself on this one. I only caught that my reference was for a P-51D with the older style tail after I had finished painting the yellow. Had I caught this at literally any other point in the build, it would have been a trivial fix and would have made this a model of an actual airframe of which pictures exist, rather than something that only might have existed. Oh well.